I need to thank all of you for coming. I mean, it's when you, something like this, the one thing you lean on, obviously, is your family and friends. So thanks, everybody, for coming. It means a lot to my family and me, obviously, personally. But I want to also thank Jim and Diane, really, for putting this on. I just want to clap for them. It's fantastic. I saw the behind the scenes, and it wasn't perfect. But it's perfect now, right at this moment. So I want to thank them. They've been awesome, to offer it, and it just really worked out. And on that piece as well, I want to thank Greg and Monica and Shelly and Dave, because they also offered, and it would have been as perfect. I know it would have been. So thank you guys.
Thank you.
For that. The one thing, there's one more piece that I wanted to go to about this, and I may forget names because I didn't really want to do this, but I thought it was important that I did get up here and speak. But when the time my dad's been sick, and then the time that he went to the hospital, and the time since he's passed, Sherry and Shelly have been, and Bobby have been just amazing. I mean, really, really supporting my mom and my sisters and me. And
of course.
So I can't say thank you enough for
thank
that.
you.
So thank you.
You're welcome.
And Mike and Dave and so I'll get past this, and this is where I might need you guys. So I didn't really write anything because I didn't want to, because I wanted to keep the personal stuff still personal with my dad and I. But I was thinking about, like, what when I look in the mirror, what do I see? From myself, from him, and my sisters, and even my kids and Marie and Colton. There's three things that came to mind when I think of him. And the first thing is friends, and I think we've talked about it a little bit, his friendship, how he valued it. He had a lot of friends, and some of them are here that lifelong friends, more recent, and he valued friendship as much really as he valued family. And that may sound strange to some people, but I remember 23 years ago, Leslie and Brad got married roughly, and there was a gal that spoke there, and she said, friends are the family you choose. And I had never heard that term before, but I never forgot. I was like, man, that's pretty powerful, because, in times of need, sometimes family's not the perfect place to go, just because. And friends are really the family that you choose, and you bring in, you hold. And he valued that. He had so many friends, and he didn't have a blueprint necessarily for friends. I mean, they were all over the spectrum, from age to style. A lot of them I would never have watched my kids. It is what it is, right? But it wasn't your financial portfolio, your orientation, your associations, your race, your gender, nothing. It didn't matter to him. If you were funny, and you were loyal, and if you liked to party, because we all know Bubba liked to party a little bit. And so those are the three, really, if there was any requirements that he really, wanted to have in his friends. And the other piece that he was just as good a friend as friends were to him. And I think of recently, after my dad passed, a lot of my friends reached out to me, and their comment was that your dad, no, he wasn't your dad, or my friend's dad. He was our friend. And these guys are my age, and my dad was a friend to them. And I think of, to mine, Jimmy and Craig, really, I always heard them say, he was like Craig mentioned earlier, he was a friend to me or a brother. And that's pretty cool. I mean, the age gap, it didn't matter. And so it's something you can take. And when I look at my friendships with friends over the years, that's the one thing that I can attribute or I see from him, right? Then the other thing is that I think of is his ability to tell a story. I don't know anyone in my lifetime that has told a story as well as my dad. And there's some pieces to this, and I've already kind of warned Greg about it, so he can help me when I get there. I'm going to go to when I was young. I was about 12, I think, in Seattle. We'd go fishing a lot, my dad and I. And when we'd go fishing, after we were done, we went over to our neighbor's house across the street, Doug and Debbie's. And we'd only caught 4 fish that day between the three of us, two of us. And he caught 3, I caught 1. He was a better fisherman than me. But he was telling the story to the neighbor. He said, how'd you guys do? And he said, well, we had a stringer full. And I'm sitting there thinking, stringer's 12 fish. Yeah, but I'm quiet, I'm sitting there, and he's telling the story, the ones that got away, and all these. My dad's lying to this guy. So I'm a little uncomfortable, but the reality of it is the story was better than what actually happened. So I was like, okay. And so over time, I started picking up on I had to be prepared. I didn't know what he was going to say from reality to what happened and when he was going to tell the story. So I had to be on my toes, and follow along. And I realized that he didn't necessarily lie, because we did catch fish. Some did get away. He just kind of. And I learned the word of embellishment. And the definition, I forget, is something about adding something pretty or something to the story to make it better. And he was really, really, really good at doing that. And over time, his stories just kind of became legendary, probably amongst everybody. Everybody's got a story to tell with him. During his storytelling, there's a phrase that came up over time that's one of his favorite or more famous phrases that this is where I'm going to be, Greg. If you drive to Vegas, on the way to Vegas, there's a road called ZZZYX or something like that nature, right? You guys have if you've ever driven it, you've seen it. And everybody's wondering, where the fuck is that road? We're in the middle of nowhere, what is that? So as we're buzzing along, Dad's in the front, Greg's driving, and Greg asks, I wonder where that road goes. Without pause, without hesitation, my dad says, Tijuana Flats. And Greg's like, oh, Tijuana, because I'm calling bullshit. And my dad begins to tell him, and Greg, you can maybe help fill this in, because I have a little bit of memory block, but it was this argument back and forth. He's like, there's no way you know where that road, Tijuana Flats, and he had this stuff down to a T. And it was a 30-minute argument. We're now near state line, I think, and Greg goes, all right, you know what, I believe you. Greg goes, I don't believe it. And my dad's saying, this word, the birth of it, I believe, was, can you prove me wrong? And Greg goes, I would say, God damn it. And Greg said, gosh darn it, I can't prove you wrong. And anyone here who's probably has had that conversation with him at some point, that he's had a conversation and you did not prove him. I've never proved him wrong. And it drives me crazy. To add to this thing, the day after my dad passed, or 2 days after, we were at Bobby's. And, Velma and Stacy and Eric came over. And we were over there just talking. And then Eric, Jimmy, and I went over to my mom's to take care of some stuff. And Eric out of the blue goes, the best thing ever happened to your dad was Google. And he goes, because he could prove everything he was saying was right. And I'm like, that's an interesting way to look at it. And so about a half hour later, we get back to my mom's, and Greg shows up. He'd be coming back from L.A., and out of nowhere, Greg wasn't part of that conversation. He says, the worst thing that ever happened to your dad was Google. And I'm like, because we could prove your dad wrong. I still don't know anyone that's proved him wrong. I really don't. If you have, tell that story in a little bit. We'll ask it. But I'm going to agree with Eric on this one. It was good for him, because when you did the research, it proved him right?
When you least expect it.
Well, yeah, right? And so the third thing that I think of, and it's my biggest passion outside of my family, is cooking. My dad was an amazing cook. And all the men in the family, for some reason, we all seem to cook. But I think of Greg. I think of Diane, wherever Diane is, Mike, Stacy. We all, if I'm getting people, forget me, sorry, but I'm just kind of flying when I see my parents here. Well, I'm not there yet. You got me kind of blown. Whoever said wrong. We have the argument always of who's the best cook. I tell him that. Well, he always was, but I told him that I took over a few years ago when he slowed up a little bit. Now, I know Greg thinks he is, because he cooks with us. He did say that Greg sabotaged him at Christmas with giving the wrong gravy on purpose. Well, so I would ask him, who's the best? And he told me that Sammy's sneaky good. He said that he does pasta really well. I have never had Sammy cook for me, so I don't know, but he said that Sammy's sneaky good. He said Greg's all right. So he got it all right. He would never admit to me being better than him until late. I'd text him pictures of my tacos, and then or put on Facebook. My mom would show him, and he'd text me that night some picture he did. I'm much better than he is. I'm going to be honest. I'm the best cook of the family. I am. But I know there's some new. I see Aaron's now posting wherever Aaron is, and Finn seems to be the next chef of the family.
Finn's stepping up.
Right? So, you know, it's a passion. It's an art, in my opinion. I think everybody has a little bit of artist in them in some way, and I think that's mine. And that was my dad's. And it just, I've seen him progress over the years, and you know, my Gina and the girls have seen me progress over the years. So maybe we can battle out one day, Greg, at your house and have a little cook-off. I think honestly that Diane might kick all our asses. Yeah. I'm just being honest. She cooks.
Robbie, this Christmas you and I are cooking dinner.
Yeah.
How about
Let's do it.
that? You and I
am on board. No, and no salad,
no wedge salad.
No wedge salad. No 70
I
wedge
thought you
salad.
all on Mexican food.
Yeah.
Well, no, your lasagna's the best. If I didn't mention Stacy, I meant to mention Stacy. So, okay, so that's gonna be it for me. I said I didn't want to talk about the personal stuff. I wanted to keep that. I'm not ready to go there yet. But the idea for now for us to do is what we wanted to make it a little different, where you don't have to come up here because this is not comfortable for everybody, right? It's not comfortable for me certainly. But if you have a story, I want you guys to share it. 10 seconds, it could be a minute or two, whatever. I mean, there's no time limit. Share something that that comes to mind that we haven't maybe heard. I mean, that's what would make this moment special, really, for my family, is to hear stories that, especially from some of his buddies that are here. I'm not asking you to speak, but that would be really, really, really cool if you did. I mean, keep it PG, please. None of the Cabo guys are here. So. And so that's what we want to go to. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Leslie mentioned Velma wanted to read a poem or to say a poem. Velma, if you want.